Hey guys, are you struggling financially? Financially, you need to listen to this. Most of us, 99% of us, struggle financially at some point in our lives, in our careers. By design, we don't know what we're doing for the most part. Most of us really just don't have it figured out, especially when we're young. But guess what? Even when we do have it figured out and know what to do, or at least have a good idea about how to do it, like myself, who feels that I didn't learn very well when I was a kid, I've made some failures along the way, then started building up some assets, made some more failures, build up some more assets, made some more failures. And I would say that, yeah, I still struggle financially. I'm not where I want to be. I have more resources, but I'm still at times thinking I'm the same as I was 10, 15 years ago, just on a much larger scale. And so the struggle is mentally, though. Because if you open up your mind and realize, man, every day I can go do something to earn some money, to negotiate a contract, to get a job or whatnot. If you're struggling financially, it's simply because you need to push yourself. And by design, life is not going to be easy whether you struggle financially or not. And so, if you are struggling financially, what needs to happen is you wake up every day, early in the morning. If you drink coffee, grab a cup of coffee. If you work out, right before you work out, you think, man, what's the one thing that I can do today to move the needle into getting ahead? And it doesn't always mean, what can I do today to make $1? No, the first thing you need to think of is, what can I do today that will push that needle a little bit further to where it'll help me? What knowledge do I have to get? What skill do I have to get? And you figure that out. Second thing is, how do I earn as much money as I can today? How do I earn and cash in as much money as I can today? Well, when you're on the low scale of financially, where you're earning $100 a day or something like that, you're going to use labor and you're going to work for cash. Well, go grab it and go grab that cash. After that, you learn how to make $100 a day, then you learn how to make $200 a day. But the reason why the first thing I said was to figure out how to move that needle ahead of time is because go and get the $100 and $200, the manual labor. That's going to be the easy part, because that's going to be cash now. But you need to start figuring out for future advancement. And it's always in the asset column. It's owning a business. It's owning real estate. It's those type of things. Even if you don't run it, owning a part of it. And so you want to have money in order to do it. But the first thing you do is, man, what can I do today to move that needle in order to get assets now or in the future? And if you think of that thought every day, at some point in time, probably sooner rather than later, you're going to come up with an idea, or you're going to go down a path of education long enough to know, man, I'm now on deck to buy this, or be a part of this, or work for this. And so if you do that in conjunction with, I need money today, how do I get $100, $200? And eventually that $100 and $200 will continue to increase, because in both of those ideas, they're working with each other in order for you to advance. And it's called focus. Focus on those two items, along with your prayer life and your spouse and your kids, if you have all those. But man, if you're single and you focus on those two things, and really you got 24 hours in the day where you're going to be working at it and dreaming about it. And I stay in that constant mode of working at it and dreaming about it. And even around my family or people that I associate with, you would be able to ask a fair amount of people that, man, the only thing that's on Adam's mind, first and foremost, is God. Second is family. Third is business and everything else. So I don't go hunting and fishing, man. I am literally working on a Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, Working at this video, but up until this point, this is about my first time that I walked outside. My wife and kids are here. I did a little bit of work around the house when it comes to just clothes and all that kind of stuff, but hadn't even taken a shower yet, man. I was on the computer and I got some things for 2025 that I was working out. Like, man, where do I want to continue to push myself, and how do I come some of these adversities that I have? But Saturdays and Sundays are awesome days because my phone doesn't ring as much and I get to really think creatively. And so what I realized today, literally today, is the physical store that I have, the outdoor cooking and the outdoor cooking and hardware store. Man, we can actually triple our sales online. Um, so got the plan. We started a media company this week, Zach and I, and and we got a few customers that we synergize with already, and so that's going to ultimately help us build stronger relationships with those customers. Are actually business partners that I do a little bit of business, but now we're increasing those businesses, and and then thirdly, I have enough real estate to or enough lenders in real estate that as things get better and we sell faster and all that kind of stuff, then I can ultimately have a good plan of action of wiping out a lot of significant debt that I have, which makes me happy. And then in our sober living houses, we're struggling bad. But we're almost at the nonprofit status. We're not far away, and we're struggling financially because the road to recovery is tough for a lot of people. And when I tell you that, when the people are just getting off of addiction, for 30 days or a year or whatnot, they're not of the mindset that, or most of them are not of a mindset of where they actually are in their physical age. So a 40-year-old could still be acting like a 20-year-old or actually more like a 15-year-old. And so I feel for these guys that were around, but it also makes me drain resources in that company because we're not a nonprofit, and so the ability for us to get grants and things that'll help support these guys and support the houses is kind of got me locked up. So ultimately, as we finish that road up, I see some bright lights ahead. And so ultimately, I think over time, just like anything else I do takes a little bit of time, it's only because these asset classes that I'm in are much bigger. So it's not like, hey, man, let me work for today and earn money today as much as I'd like to. The online store is like that. But it did take a couple months to get there. Um, it's harder to move a bigger ship. And I don't have a very, very big ship. I'm definitely not on the big ship set. Let's call it a small ship in the ocean. And I'm working on the medium sized ship. And hopefully we'll be building those big freight cargo ships here soon. But that's what, one day at a time type deal. And so if you're struggling financially, just understand that at every point that you get to financially, like you're starting off, I started off directly at the bottom, working like, man, how do I get $100 today? And some days it was $50, some days it was $20. A lot of days is negative bank accounts. People don't really understand that, especially when you're in business. But man, some days it's zero or below, and it still can get that way. Like you're reaching the bottom, and you're like, man, what is going on? I don't quite understand. And so I guess you don't have to always understand today. It's always hindsight you understand a little bit better. So if you're just struggling financially, follow those two things. Because today I woke up and said, man, how do I earn a little bit of money today? And how do I grow in the future? And I'm lucky enough that I have some assets right now that's going to pay me today. But that's because almost 20 years ago, I was thinking those two questions. And I'm almost 20 years, no, yes, yeah. A couple years away from 20 years as a entrepreneur, or half and half. I worked for somebody, and then I was developing a real estate portfolio while learning the skills and all that kind of stuff. Um, and so I guess 2017 would be the full fledged on my own. So I'm not even 10 years in, okay? But I am part of the job that I had prior to, even though I was earning a paycheck, I was very much helping somebody building up their entrepreneur, and I felt like an entrepreneur too. I was doing things on my own, but I would say now I'm much more acclimated to everything. It's just, there's no, I don't get a paycheck unless I create or buy something that is providing me that paycheck. You know, and my customers, well, I have customers everywhere. So I don't just I'm not customer boss. I have customers everywhere, but my bosses are my customers. So instead of having one or two or three bosses like some of you guys have, or a dozen or whatever, I have thousands, really. um, More specifically, the store has thousands. My real estate and stuff has dozens. So we live in houses has dozens. But the store and the online store have thousands. So yeah, I am. My bosses are way different now than when I had just really one boss for a long time. So it makes you act and think a little bit different. But if you're struggling financially, digest that. Just work on it one day at a time. In fact, I suggest you write it down. Write down two things that's going to move that needle in those directions. How you going to get paid today, and how you going to get paid tomorrow. Or opposite. Number one, how you get paid tomorrow. Number two, how you get paid today. Because you're going to spend most of the day right now, how you going to get paid today. But if you can just spend 10 minutes on thinking like, man, what is a good idea that I need to work towards, man, it'll be well worth it. So enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday pretty day. We'll talk again soon.